Imagine this. It's not theory. It happens every week to someone, somewhere. Scenario 1, USA. It's Friday, 4 p.m. You're a surgeon in Miami. You just landed in Maui for a short break. You switch off your phone, order a cocktail, and finally breathe out. Then, buzz. One last text sneaks through. You've been served, court order, accounts frozen Monday morning. By Monday, every account you hold in New York, California, or even London will be frozen. Your brokerage account is suspended. Your credit cards stop working. You're a multimillionaire on paper, but Monday morning you can't pay your hotel bill. Scenario 2, Europa. Now imagine the same in Europe. You're a successful entrepreneur from Germany. You sold part of your company, deposited $30 million in Luxembourg. Friday night, you fly to St. Moritz. Saturday morning, your lawyer calls. A court in Munich just froze your Luxembourg accounts. On Monday, bailiffs start registering assets, and real estate in Berlin is flagged for seizure. Your safe Luxembourg account offered no protection at all. The lesson? Wealth is fragile. It can disappear not because of bad investments, but because of court orders, regulators, or politics. Unless you build a fortress before the storm. The illusion of safety. I hear the same sentence again and again. Don't worry, I have a Swiss account that makes me lawsuit-proof. This is the most dangerous illusion. A Swiss account is excellent, but alone it's not enough. Here's why. US courts can order you to bring funds back. If you refuse, you face contempt of court. Contempt is not symbolic. It means daily fines or jail time until you comply. There are cases where people sat in jail for months, not for a crime, but because they refused to sign a transfer order. In Europe, contempt works differently. Judges don't throw you in jail for non-compliance. They simply liquidate your assets. Real estate, business shares, even art collections can be seized and auctioned. So whether you're in New York or Munich, the effect is the same. Your account, no matter how prestigious, is not protection. Think of it this way. A bank account abroad without legal wrapping is like parking your Ferrari on the street behind a cheap chain-link fence. It looks impressive. It feels secure. But when a determined attacker comes with bolt cutters, the fence is gone in seconds. That's exactly how foreign accounts are treated by courts. Without legal armor, they're exposed. Why structure beats location? Here's the critical shift in mindset. Protection is not about where your money sits. It's about who controls it. A bank account without a trust is like leaving a safe full of cash in someone else's living room while keeping the combination in your pocket. If the police arrive with a warrant, they take you and the safe. The location didn't matter. The legal control did. Judges don't care if your money is in Zurich, London, or Toronto. If you are the legal owner, they can compel you to bring it back. And if you can comply, you must comply. That's why protection doesn't start with geography. It starts with structure. The fortress model, how the wealthy stay untouchable. So how do the world's wealthiest build real protection? They don't rely on a single bank account. They build layers, just like a medieval fortress. Layer 1, the outer wall. Cook Islands Trust. The Cook Islands, far out in the Pacific, are not just geographically distant. They are legally independent. Their International Trust Act is one of the strongest asset protection statutes in the world. Here's what it means. 1. Foreign judgments are ignored. A US or European ruling has no effect. 2. Plaintiffs must start over in the Cook Islands. That means new lawyers, new court filings, and paying a massive upfront bond. 3. Burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, not the balance of probabilities used in civil courts. This is the standard for criminal cases. The result? 99% of creditors give up before they even begin. Layer 2, the lockbox, Cook Islands LLC. The trust owns a Cook Islands limited liability company. When times are calm, you act as manager. You control trades, transfers, and investments. When trouble hits, control shifts to the trustee. This is crucial. If a judge tells you to bring the money back, you cannot. You are no longer the manager. And under Cook Islands law, the trustee is forbidden to comply with foreign orders. Layer 3, the gatekeeper, licensed trustee. The trustee is a licensed, bonded professional in the Cook Islands. They act like a fortress gatekeeper. Their duty is to follow Cook Islands law, not foreign courts. And that law makes it illegal for them to hand over your assets on foreign demand. Layer 4. The inner vault, Swiss banking, now comes Switzerland. This is where the wealth is actually stored. Why Switzerland? 1. Resilience. Swiss banks survived 2 world wars, multiple financial crises, and still stand stronger than ever. 2. Capital strength. Tier 1 capital ratios often exceed 18%. Compare that with many regional US banks under 10%. 3. Legal shield. Article 47 of the Swiss Banking Act makes unauthorized disclosure a criminal offense. 4. Predictability. Swiss courts require creditors to litigate locally, expensive and time-consuming. So when your Cook Islands Trust owns an account in Switzerland, you combine Pacific legal armor with Swiss financial strength. It's like building a fortress with 2 impenetrable walls, one in the South Pacific, one in the Alps. The basics most ignore now. Let's pause. Because not everyone listening runs a billion-dollar hedge fund. A retired banker once told me, Enzo, most people think they need exotic structures, but simply having a will already puts you ahead of 90% of the population and half of the lawyers. He was right. Studies show that the majority of adults die without a valid will. Even among professionals, estate planning is often ignored. Step 1. The will. A proper will avoids chaos. Without it, heirs fight, courts interfere, and wealth evaporates. Step 2. The trust. Even a basic inter vivos trust creates a legal wrapper. It separates you from the assets, giving you a first layer of defense. Step 3. Liability insurance. Unsexy, but critical. A comprehensive general liability policy can cover millions. Yet many wealthy individuals discover this only after it's too late. Then there are the forward thinkers. Decades ago, wealthy families in Europe and America moved parts of their fortune offshore. One dynasty quietly placed hundreds of millions into Pacific structures long before asset protection became mainstream. Today their heirs still benefit, not because they made more money, but because they preserved what they had. The lesson is simple. Start with basics: will, trust, insurance. Then add advanced structures: Swiss banks, Liechtenstein foundations, Cook Islands trusts. That's how dynasties are built. Safe havens versus paper tigers. Not all jurisdictions are created equal. Some protect you, others betray you. The defenders, Switzerland, the Alpine fortress, foreign civil judgments are not enforced automatically. Plaintiffs must sue in Switzerland, a costly uphill battle. Privacy breaches are criminal offenses. Banks are strong, conservative, and reliable. Liechtenstein, the armored microstate, civil law foundation rejects foreign judgments. Foundations allow dynastic planning across generations. Liquidity ratios among the highest in Europe. Dubai, UAE. The Desert Fortress, separate DIFC common law courts. Foreign judgments must be relitigated. Privacy is a deliberate competitive edge. The Emirates welcome entrepreneurs with red carpet service. Singapore, the Asian Vault, English common law heritage. Strict statutory privacy. Mandatory cyber audits keep accounts safe from hackers. Holds over 2.1 trillion in private wealth. The paper tigers, United Kingdom, the betrayal, reciprocal treaties mean US judgments can be enforced. London bankers freeze accounts at the first sign of trouble. Australia, the Kangaroo Court, the Foreign Judgments Act makes enforcement swift and automatic. Canada, the polite trap, provinces enforce US judgments directly. What feels like a safe neighbor is in fact a legal extension of the US. Let me share real-world examples, anonymized, adapted, but absolutely true in principle, because nothing illustrates protection better than seeing how it works under fire. Case 1. The American investor. A wealthy investor in California faced a devastating malpractice lawsuit. The judgment was over $10 million. Now, if his wealth had been in New York or London, the plaintiff would have seized it in weeks. But his assets were held in a Swiss account owned by a Cook Islands trust. When the plaintiff's lawyers tried to enforce the judgment, they realized the nightmare ahead. First, they would have to refile the case in Switzerland. Second, they would have to start all over in the Cook Islands. Third, they would need to deposit a massive bond up front. The legal costs alone were higher than the potential recovery. Result, they walked away. The investor kept his fortune. Case 2. The European family business. A family in Italy owned several boutique hotels on the Mediterranean coast. One summer, a guest suffered a severe injury on the property and sued for damages worth millions. At the time, the family had already worked with us to restructure. Their hotels were held inside protective entities. The equity had been stripped and the bank accounts were in Switzerland under a trust. When the lawsuit came, the assets were untouchable. The case dragged on for 2 years, but in the end, the plaintiff accepted a small settlement paid entirely by insurance. The family business survived. Without the structure, they would have lost everything. Case 3. The Dynasty Builder. In the 1930s, a handful of wealthy European families took advice that most ignored. They quietly moved parts of their wealth offshore, to Switzerland, to Liechtenstein, and even to early Pacific jurisdictions. Their peers laughed. Why bother? Europe is stable. Banks here are safe. Then came war, then came inflation, then came confiscation. Those who had planned early survived. Their heirs still control dynastic fortunes today, not because they made more, but because they protected early. The lesson: the best protection is always built before the crisis. Why structure wins over cash? Let me explain the crucial legal point. Imagine a judge points at you and says, "Bring the money back in 72 hours, or face the consequences. If you can comply, you must comply." That's contempt of court. But inside a Cook Islands trust, you are not the trustee. You are not the manager once the storm hits. You cannot comply, even if you wanted to, and that legal impossibility is your shield. Comparison of jurisdictions. Cook Islands, foreign judgments ignored. Plaintiffs must start over locally. 2-year statute of limitations. High burden of proof. Belize, strong statutes, but less tested in international courts. Cayman Islands, 6-year waiting period before protection is effective. That gap is often fatal. This is why serious asset protection planners consistently choose the Cook Islands as the first wall. When combined with Swiss banking, you get the strongest defense available today. Think of it like a medieval fortress. If the enemy arrives at your gate and demands entry, but the gatekeeper has no key, nothing happens. The gatekeeper shrugs. Even if I wanted to, I cannot open the gate. That's the power of structural separation. Now let's address a dangerous myth. Offshore does not mean off tax. If you are American, you must file FBAR and Form 8938 every year. The penalties for non-reporting are severe. If you are European, your country participates in the Common Reporting Standard, CRS. Banks report balances to your tax authority. So let me be absolutely clear. We protect you from lawsuits, creditors, and political instability. We do not hide you from the taxman. Why transparency matters? Anyone promising secret Swiss accounts is selling Hollywood fiction. That era ended years ago. Today, the only sustainable strategy is transparent, legal, and compliant. You disclose to the tax authorities. You protect from everyone else. That is the real game of asset protection. Action plan: building your fortress. We've covered the threats, we've covered the illusions, and we've covered the strongest structures. Now let me give you the practical steps, the blueprint I use with clients worldwide. Step 1: secure the basics before building castles. Fix the foundation. Will: dying without a will is financial suicide. Courts step in, heirs fight, wealth evaporates. Inter vivos trust. Even a basic trust separates ownership and creates a legal shield. Insurance. Liability policies and umbrella coverage may not be glamorous, but they are essential. These steps alone put you ahead of the majority. Step 2: build the fortress walls. Now add the advanced layers. Cook Islands. Trust your outer wall. It rejects foreign judgments. Cook Islands, LLC. The lockbox inside the trust. You manage it in calm times. The trustee takes over in storms. Swiss bank account, the inner vault, strong banks, stable laws, global execution. Liechtenstein Foundation, optional, perfect for dynastic planning and succession. Together, these layers form a fortress no lawsuit can touch. Step 3, choose the right jurisdiction. Every client is unique, so the fortress must be tailored. Switzerland, for conservative wealth, rock-solid stability. Liechtenstein, for dynastic families, Stiftungen built to last generations. Dubai, for entrepreneurs with active businesses, friendly to cross-border operations. Singapore, for advanced portfolios, world-class cyber resilience. Choose wisely. The wrong jurisdiction can turn into a paper tiger. Step 4. Fund it smartly. Asset protection is not about secrecy, it's about clean structures. Use wire transfers, never personal checks. Keep audit trails. Transparency with your tax advisor protects you. File the reports. FBR 8938, CRS. Compliance is non-negotiable. Step 5. Rehearse the fire drill. Structures are like parachutes. You must check them before the jump. I recommend clients run a lawsuit fire drill once a year. Pretend you've just been sued. Freeze the structure. Test the trustee's response time. Ensure every wall locks down. It feels stressful the first time, but when the real storm comes, you'll sleep rich instead of sleepless. Wealth is fragile when exposed. One court order, one regulator, one political storm, and it can vanish. But wealth placed inside the right fortress becomes untouchable. You can build a fortune, or you can protect one. The wise do both. I've spent my career helping clients worldwide. Entrepreneurs, doctors, athletes, family offices build these fortresses. We use Swiss banks, Liechtenstein foundations, and Cook Islands trusts to protect not only money but lifestyles, legacies, and families. So let me leave you with this. Your assets deserve more than hope. They deserve a fortress.